We thought it was real, but the truth turned out to be even more amazing. Scientists have discovered buildings that are far more mysterious, mystical, and incredible than this giant stone statue. You will see a pyramid that could change history, impossible temples, divine structures, and much more. Deep in the misty hills of Indonesia, hidden beneath layers of earth and vegetation, lies what might be the oldest pyramid on Earth, Gunung Padang. At first glance, it seems like nothing more than a natural hill covered in scattered stones. But as researchers began digging, they uncovered something shocking. Beneath the surface are massive stone terraces, strange underground chambers, and layers of rock that date back thousands of years before the Great Pyramids of Egypt. The deeper archaeologists dug, the weirder things got. Beneath the top layers, carbon dating revealed something mind-blowing. Some of these buried structures might be over 20,000 years old. If true, that would completely rewrite human history as we know it. Officially, the first civilizations didn't appear until about 6,000 years ago. So who could have built something this advanced 14,000 years before that? The layout of Gunung Padang is eerily precise. The stone blocks, some weighing several tons, are stacked in a way that suggests a massive stepped structure, possibly an ancient pyramid buried by time. Even stranger, scientists using ground-penetrating radar discovered hidden chambers deep inside, suggesting the site might contain something yet to be revealed. But here's where things take a turn for the bizarre. Some believe Gunung Padang isn't just an ancient site, it's the remains of a lost civilization wiped out by a cataclysm, possibly the Great Flood mentioned in myths worldwide. Could this site be proof that an advanced society existed long before recorded history? Some even speculate that the underground chambers could contain artifacts or knowledge from an unknown past. Despite the mind-blowing discoveries, mainstream historians remain skeptical. Many argue that the site is just a natural rock formation, modified by later cultures. But if that's the case, why do so many of the stones appear deliberately shaped? Why do they fit together so precisely? And why would an ancient civilization go to such lengths to bury their own pyramid? If ancient pyramids buried beneath the earth seem strange, what about a massive rock-cut monument standing in plain sight, yet almost no one knows who built it? In the rugged landscape of central Turkey, a towering stone face rises from the ground, covered in intricate carvings. This is the Midas Monument, an enormous temple-like structure carved directly into the rock. But despite the name, there's no real proof that it has anything to do with King Midas, the legendary ruler who supposedly turned everything he touched into gold. The monument is covered in strange, unreadable inscriptions, written in an ancient script that scholars still struggle to decipher. Some believe it was built by the Phrygians, an ancient civilization that existed around 800 BC, but others suggest the carvings could be much older. The structure doesn't seem to have any clear entrance. There's no door, no interior chamber, just a massive, decorated rock wall standing in isolation. What was it used for? A temple, a tomb, some kind of ceremonial altar? No one knows for sure. Even stranger, similar rock-cut structures have been found scattered across Turkey, suggesting that the Midas Monument might be just one piece of a larger lost civilization. Some believe the entire region could be sitting on top of undiscovered underground structures, waiting to be unearthed. If this monument wasn't dedicated to Midas, then who built it? And why did they leave behind a message that no one can read? And perhaps the bigger question, what else is hidden beneath the hills of Turkey? If carving symbols into a rock is impressive, imagine carving an entire temple out of a single block of stone. Not assembling it, not stacking stones, carving it straight from a mountain. That's exactly what happened in India, where the Kailasa temple stands as one of the most unbelievable architectural feats in human history. The Kailasa temple wasn't built, it was excavated downward from the solid rock. This means that ancient builders had to remove over 200,000 tons of stone to create this enormous temple complex. The sheer scale is mind-blowing. The temple includes towering pillars, intricate sculptures, staircases, and entire chambers, all carved from one continuous piece of stone. What makes it even stranger? No one really knows how it was done. The temple is estimated to be over 1,200 years old, but experts can't explain how a civilization without modern tools managed to achieve this level of precision. There are no visible chisel marks, no evidence of gradual construction, and no logical way to explain how workers would have known exactly what to carve before they started. Some suggest that this level of craftsmanship would be difficult even with modern technology, raising questions about whether ancient builders had access to lost techniques or knowledge that we don't understand today. Unlike many other temples, Kailasa is not just a religious site, it's an engineering puzzle. Some believe that the temple's alignment with celestial bodies hints at some deeper meaning, possibly even an ancient code hidden in stone. If the builders had the ability to carve something so perfect, what else might they have been capable of? And more importantly, why does history seem to have no clear record of how they did it? On the windswept coast of Northern Ireland, thousands of perfectly shaped hexagonal stone columns rise from the sea like the remnants of an ancient pathway. This is the Giant's Causeway, a geological marvel, or according to legend, the work of giants. The official explanation is that the stones formed 60 million years ago from volcanic activity, cooling into their bizarre geometric shapes. But the sheer perfection of these interlocking columns makes it hard to believe they weren't carved by hand. Some of them are 40 feet tall, arranged so precisely that they look like they were once part of a massive man-made structure, perhaps a lost castle swallowed by the sea. According to Irish mythology, the causeway was built by the giant Finn McCool, who supposedly constructed it as a bridge to Scotland to challenge another giant. But could there be a grain of truth to the story? Some believe that the site may have once been a sacred location for an unknown ancient civilization, long before written history. Others suggest that the causeway may hide a lost fortress, now buried beneath the waves. If there was once a castle here, what happened to it? Just offshore, divers have reported strange stone formations beneath the water, adding fuel to the idea that something once stood here. Whether a freak of nature or a lost construction project of an ancient people, the Giant's Causeway remains one of the most mysterious landscapes on Earth. If the Giant's Causeway hints at a lost civilization, the sunken ruins off the coast of Dwarka, India could be proof of one. For centuries, ancient texts have described a magnificent city ruled by Lord Krishna, said to have been swallowed by the sea thousands of years ago. For a long time, historians dismissed it as myth, until underwater explorers actually found something. In the early 2000s, marine archaeologists discovered massive stone structures beneath the Gulf of Khambhat, off the coast of modern-day Dwarka. The layout suggested a lost city complete with roads, walls, and even what looked like temple foundations. What's even more shocking? Some of the artifacts recovered from the site date back 9,000 years, placing them thousands of years before the earliest known civilizations. If these ruins really are the remains of Krishna's legendary city, it means human civilization was far more advanced far earlier than we ever imagined. The layout of the underwater structures suggests intelligent city planning, but there's a problem. The ruins are too deep to have been built by any known culture at the time. How did an advanced city end up at the bottom of the ocean thousands of years before history says it should exist? Some believe this is evidence of an ancient flood, perhaps even the same cataclysm described in multiple mythologies around the world. Others think Dwarka might be one of many lost cities, erased by rising seas and forgotten by time. If this is just one example of a sunken civilization, how many more might still be hidden beneath the waves? If Dwarka challenges what we know about civilization, Skara Brae in Scotland proves that people were building advanced settlements far earlier than we thought. Buried beneath sand dunes for centuries, this prehistoric village remained hidden until a violent storm in 1850 uncovered its perfectly preserved stone houses. What shocked archaeologists wasn't just how old it was, but how advanced it appeared to be. Dating back to 3100 BC, Skara Brae is older than Stonehenge and even the Great Pyramids of Egypt. Its stone homes still have built-in furniture, including stone beds and shelves, and what appears to be an early form of indoor plumbing. The level of planning and organization suggests that the people who built it weren't primitive at all, but part of a highly developed society. The biggest mystery? No one knows why they left. The entire village was abandoned suddenly, with everyday objects left exactly where they had been used. There's no evidence of war, disease, or disaster, yet it seems as if the inhabitants simply vanished overnight. Some theories suggest climate change forced them to leave, while others believe they moved on to a more advanced settlement, one that has yet to be found. Adding to the mystery, Other prehistoric sites across Scotland contain strange carvings that resemble maps of constellations, leading some to speculate that these early people had knowledge of the stars far beyond what should have been possible. Could Skara Brae have been part of a lost network of advanced prehistoric settlements? If so, where did its people go, and what knowledge might they have taken with them? Deep in the highlands of Ethiopia, hidden among the rugged cliffs, lies one of the world's most mysterious religious sites, the rock-hewn churches of Lalibela. Unlike traditional churches, these weren't built with bricks or stones. Instead, they were carved straight into the ground with entire structures, including walls, columns, and even roofs, excavated from solid rock. The most famous of these, Beit Georgis, is shaped like a massive cross, its design so perfect that it looks like something out of an ancient blueprint. But here's what makes Lalibela truly mysterious. No one knows exactly how they did it. These churches were supposedly built in the 12th century, yet there are no records of the tools or techniques used. Some legends claim that angels helped carve them in just one night. Others suggest that the builders might have had access to advanced lost technology. Adding to the mystery, the churches are connected by an underground labyrinth of tunnels and passageways, some leading to hidden chambers whose purpose remains unknown. The structures are also aligned with astronomical precision, hinting at deeper knowledge beyond simple religious devotion. Were these churches simply places of worship, or could they have been part of something even greater, a lost knowledge hidden in stone? If carving churches into the ground seems impossible, how about building one on top of a vertical rock spire? In the French town of Le Puy-en-Velay, a small stone chapel sits precariously atop a 280-foot-tall volcanic pillar, accessible only by a steep winding staircase carved into the rock itself. How and why would anyone build a church up there? The chapel, known as Saint-Michel-des-Gués, was supposedly built in 962 AD, but some believe the site was used for worship long before Christianity arrived. The rock was considered sacred by earlier civilizations, possibly the Romans or even the Celts, who may have built an ancient temple on top. Some historians believe the chapel was constructed on the ruins of something much older, but without written records, no one knows for sure. The most baffling part? Transporting building materials to the summit should have been nearly impossible for people of the time. No one really knows how medieval builders managed to haul heavy stone blocks up a sheer rock face, especially with no visible signs of large-scale scaffolding. Was this simply a feat of extreme dedication, or did the site serve a deeper, hidden purpose? The chapel remains one of France's most mysterious structures, standing defiantly against time, a church in the sky, with secrets buried deep in its foundations. Some structures leave us wondering about lost history. Others make us question if history as we know it is even correct. High above the ancient city of Cusco, Peru, the ruins of Sacsayhuamán stand as one of the greatest architectural mysteries of the ancient world. The site is made of massive stone blocks, some weighing over 200 tons, fitted together so precisely that not even a razor blade can slide between them. And here's the kicker. No one knows how they were moved or shaped. The stones weren't just stacked, they were cut and placed in a way that perfectly resists earthquakes, a level of engineering so advanced that even modern architects can't fully explain it. The Inca are credited with building Sacsayhuamán, but even they admitted that the site was already there before their civilization began. Some theorists believe an earlier, unknown culture built the fortress, one that had technology lost to time. Adding to the mystery, the stones show no clear tool marks. How did the builders cut and transport such enormous blocks without iron tools or wheels? And why would they build on a mountaintop, where moving such stones would have been nearly impossible? Some believe the ruins could be much older than we think, possibly dating back thousands of years before the Inca. The true purpose of Sacsayhuamán remains unknown. Was it a fortress, a ceremonial site, or something else entirely? And if an unknown civilization built it, what happened to them? In the heart of southern Africa, hidden among rolling hills, lies one of the most mysterious stone cities on Earth, Great Zimbabwe. Built entirely of giant granite blocks, this ancient megastructure has puzzled historians for centuries. The stones were carefully arranged without mortar, yet they have stood for nearly 1,000 years, defying time and the elements. Some of the walls reach over 30 feet high with perfectly fitted stones that rival the craftsmanship of ancient Europe or Asia. Who built it? That question has been at the center of controversy for decades. Early European explorers refused to believe that an advanced African civilization could have constructed such a masterpiece, leading to wild theories about Phoenicians, Arabs, or even lost biblical tribes. But today, most historians agree that Great Zimbabwe was built by the ancestors of the Shona people, a civilization that thrived in trade, mining, and architecture long before Europeans arrived. Yet many mysteries remain. Why was it abandoned? There are no signs of war or destruction, yet the city was suddenly left empty around the 15th century. Some believe that drought or political instability forced the people to move, while others speculate about a lost disaster that wiped them out. The greatest mystery, however, is how they managed to build such massive stone structures with no recorded tools or blueprints. The city's conical tower, built with no apparent purpose, still baffles architects. Was it a granary, a temple, or something else entirely? Even now, Great Zimbabwe stands as a silent monument to a lost civilization, one that modern historians are still trying to fully understand. If they could build something so advanced with no known records of its construction, what else might have been lost to time? While Great Zimbabwe amazes with its above-ground construction, China's Longyou Caves take mystery underground, literally. Located in Zhejiang province, these enormous caverns were discovered in 1992, when a farmer drained a pond and stumbled upon something impossible. Hidden beneath the water was a perfectly carved cave with smooth walls, massive columns, and strange, perfectly symmetrical patterns etched into the stone. That was only the beginning. As more ponds were drained, 36 massive underground halls were uncovered, each one seemingly man-made. But here's the catch: no historical records mention them. These caves were carved out of solid sandstone, with some ceilings reaching 100 feet high, yet not a single tool, artifact, or sign of human habitation has been found inside. It's as if someone built them and then abandoned them without a trace. How were they built? If these caves were made using traditional chisels, it would have required millions of man-hours. But there's no evidence of construction, no discarded tools, no debris, no markings of progress. And why were they made? There are no signs that they were used as tombs, temples, or storage. Some believe they could be remnants of a lost underground city, while others think they might have been carved for a purpose we still don't understand. Even modern engineers admit that recreating these caves today would be a massive undertaking, requiring advanced tools and precise planning. So how did a civilization with no recorded knowledge of such engineering accomplish this thousands of years ago? And more importantly, why does history seem to have completely forgotten them? If moving massive stone blocks seems impossible underground, what about moving stones so large that modern cranes can barely lift them? That's exactly what you'll find in Baalbek, Lebanon, where an ancient temple dedicated to Jupiter was built on a foundation that shouldn't exist. The most mysterious part of Baalbek isn't the temple itself, it's the 3 colossal stone blocks beneath it, known as the trilithon. Each of these stones weighs around 800 tons, larger than any known stone used in construction anywhere in the ancient world. Even today, only a handful of machines on Earth could lift them. So how did an ancient civilization, one without cranes, wheels, or modern engineering, move them into place with absolute precision? Historians believe the Romans built the temple on an even older foundation, possibly constructed by a lost civilization. Some theories suggest that Baalbek was a prehistoric megastructure, later repurposed by the Romans. Others believe it was built using long-lost construction techniques that we still haven't rediscovered. The fact that the stones are so precisely placed, fitting together without mortar, makes it even harder to believe they were simply rolled into place. Even more baffling, an even larger stone, known as the Stone of the Pregnant Woman, lies abandoned nearby, weighing nearly 1,200 tons. If the builders planned to move this, but couldn't, it suggests they were attempting something even more impossible than what we see today. Theories range from ancient lost technology to extraterrestrial intervention, but mainstream historians still can't agree on a definitive explanation. The Temple of Jupiter shouldn't exist on this scale, yet it does. And if ancient builders could move 800-ton stones, then what else were they capable of? Scattered across a remote lagoon in Micronesia, the ruins of Nan Madal rise from the water like the remains of a lost civilization. Sometimes called the Venice of the Pacific, This ancient city consists of nearly 100 artificial islands, built from massive basalt columns stacked like giant puzzle pieces. But here's the mystery. No one knows who built it, how, or why. Some of these stone blocks weigh up to 50 tons. How were they transported across the water without modern tools or technology? There are no clear records, no written history, just legends. Local myths claim the city was built by giant sorcerers who moved the stones using magic, while others say it was the home of an ancient ruling class that mysteriously vanished overnight. What's even stranger, there are no quarries on the islands. This means the stones had to be transported from miles away, yet no one knows how. Some researchers believe Nan Madal could be the remains of a much older civilization, possibly one of the oldest lost cities on Earth. Others think it might be part of a larger, undiscovered complex, hidden beneath the ocean. Whatever the truth, Nan Madal doesn't fit into history as we know it. On the island of Malta, the Tarxien temples stand as proof that prehistoric civilizations were far more advanced than we once believed. Built over 5,500 years ago, these massive stone structures predate the pyramids of Egypt. But the real mystery? No one knows who built them or why they vanished. The temples feature intricate carvings, massive stone blocks, and evidence of advanced construction techniques that shouldn't have been possible for the time. Some stones weigh several tons yet were transported and stacked with incredible precision. The site also contains strange spiral patterns and statues of unknown deities, hinting at a lost belief system. Even more puzzling, the civilization that built the temples completely disappeared around 2500 BC. No signs of war, no natural disaster, just an empty, abandoned site. Were they wiped out? Did they migrate? Or were they connected to an even older, unknown culture? The Tarxien temples remain a silent riddle from prehistory, one we may never fully solve. Hidden in the hills of South Africa, a mysterious ring of standing stones known as Adam's Calendar has baffled researchers for years. Some claim it could be the oldest man-made structure on Earth, possibly over 75,000 years old. If true, it completely rewrites history. Unlike other ancient stone circles, Adam's Calendar isn't just random rocks. It's perfectly aligned with celestial events, suggesting it was used as an astronomical observatory. Some stones even line up with solstices and equinoxes, just like Stonehenge, but potentially tens of thousands of years older. Who built it? Mainstream archaeology says it's just a natural rock formation, but others believe it's part of a lost civilization. Some even suggest it was a power center or landing site for ancient visitors. But without definitive evidence, Adam's Calendar remains one of the greatest enigmas of the ancient world. That's about it. Write in the comments which building shocked you the most. For more useful information, watch other videos.